All right, look behind me. It's basically a flying tractor. Huge new drones being used for the first time for farming here in the Midlands, thanks to a company in Stoke. As the law changes rapidly to catch up with the reality of modern drone technology, we could see hundreds of massive agricultural drones taking to the skies by the end of next year, sowing crops, spraying fertiliser, and even scattering slug pellets. Here's our rural affairs correspondent, David Gregory-Kumar.
It certainly looks like any other drone. It's just much, much bigger, 3 meters wide and weighing up to 160 kilograms. Which means you can use it to plant seeds or today for crop spraying.
We casted the seed last year, and then today we've been spraying liquid seaweed onto this to get a good boost for the grass, to get good growth on it for the cows to graze.
Nearly 10 years ago now, we first showed you one of these huge agricultural drones at Harper Adams University in Shropshire. It had to stay inside this hall as it was illegal to fly outside in the open at the time. But in the last few years, we've seen rapid changes in the law, and suddenly large drones for farming are set to really take off. So all of this field was planted with seeds from the drone. It's now being fertilised by the drone, and it's a real alternative for the farmer because it's just too difficult and possibly even dangerous to get a tractor up here on these steep slopes. Much of this is being driven by a company in Stoke-on-Trent, lobbying for changes in the law to make all this possible and then bringing it all to farmers.
First of all, we support them with the training, we help them to get licensed, and then, yes, we can supply the equipment. Right now, there's probably 50 of these drones operating in the country. By this time next year, there'll be 500. Time for a recharge, swapping out the drone's chunky water-cooled batteries before getting back to work in the sky. Later this year, for the first time, the industry expects drones to start using farming tools like slug pellets and eventually pesticides and fungicides. The flying farming future is finally here. David Gregory-Kumar, BBC Midlands Today, Market Drayton.
Join me in the studio, and we began by discussing the huge changes that there have been since Midlands Today first reported on the use of drones for farming 10 years ago.
Yes, so the last time we saw them, there were all sorts of rules about what you could do. They couldn't fly outside that hall in the open air, for example. All changed now. For a long time, the authorities were worried about big machines flying across the skies, dropping things, potentially on people, from parcels to seeds to sprays. That's begun to change now, so we're going to see these being used in farming, and I think there's a case it's just safer for farmers. Those hilly sort of areas of that Shropshire farm we saw with Frazer, it's too difficult to get a tractor out there. It's much easier, for example, for him to sort of use a drone and get a better result.
But they still can't be used to spray things like pesticides, can they?
No, so what Frazer was spraying in my report was seaweed extract, basically, so completely natural, wouldn't do anything if it had sprayed and sort of blown onto us, for example. But farmers want to use their chemicals, their pesticides, their fungicides, that kind of thing. It would be very useful. There's a lot of thought going into that. I think we are going to see the regulations change, though. For one thing, farmers say, look, if we don't have somebody in a cab in a tractor spraying and being in amongst it, but rather at the side of a field a long way away, that is safer for the operator, and the drone is going to be safer in terms of exposure. So I think we're going to see the regulations change, probably with things like slug pellets being allowed towards the end of this year.
And what else are these large drones going to be used for?
So Auto Spray Systems in Stoke are also working with the National Trust. They're working with the Woodland Trust. They are dropping tree seeds in very remote areas in the Pennines and in Scotland, rewilding places you just couldn't get to with machinery. It would take too long by hand. That's very exciting. They're even dropping sphagnum moss in gel for the National Trust into areas of peat. Currently that's done by hand. The drones allow you to automate this and cover a much larger area. So, as Rob was saying in my report, we're going to see 500 of these right across the country flying around by the end of next year, and a lot more potentially in the future.
It's also high tech. Thanks very much, David.